Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a market that might seem pretty everyday, but its growth is absolutely fascinating. We're talking about the global laptop accessories market.
That's right.
Our source material for this deep dive comes from a really comprehensive market analysis by Cognitive Market Research. It's packed with projections, insights. It reveals a truly massive, expanding industry.
Yeah, it really does.
So our mission today, to unpack what's really driving this incredible growth, pinpoint the key regions and players, and really just grasp the surprising scale of this market, the one we all interact with constantly.
Absolutely. And when we talk scale, the numbers really tell the story of how essential these things have become. The global market was valued at, get this, over $34.6 billion back in 2021.
Wow.
And just a few years later, by 2025, it's projected to hit more than $44.5 billion.
Okay.
But here's the real kicker. By 2033, that number is estimated to skyrocket to nearly $74 billion.
Yeah, $94 billion
Right.
for accessories.
Yep. Growing at a solid compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of about 6.5% annually.
That's significant sustained growth.
It really is. And these figures, well, they directly reflect those big trends we're all seeing, that acceleration of digital transformation, the huge shift to hybrid and remote work,
Right.
and just how central personal computing is now. It really sets the stage for why this seemingly simple market is so incredibly dynamic.
Okay, let's unpack this further then. So those global numbers paint a huge picture, but what specifically does the analysis point to as the underlying drivers? What's really fueling it?
Well, the report really emphasizes two main forces. First, you've got the ever-growing digital ecosystems. They permeate everything, education, entertainment, work.
Mm-hmm.
Second, and maybe even more impactful lately, is the firm entrenchment of hybrid and remote work models.
That makes sense.
Think about it, right? Your living room is now your office sometimes, or you're moving between places. That basic laptop setup often just isn't enough anymore.
Yeah, you need more.
Exactly. People need accessories that bridge that gap. They need to boost productivity, make things more comfortable, more ergonomic, more efficient. And the market's constantly responding with, new solutions, better connectivity, performance enhancers.
So it's not just about more laptops being sold, but really how we're using them day to day, driving demand for these extra.
Precisely. It's about optimizing that whole interaction.
And what kinds of accessories are really standing out then? I mean, beyond just a basic mouse.
Good question. The analysis specifically calls out things like external keyboards, huge for ergonomics, especially if you type a lot.
Right.
Then there are docking stations. These are really transformative, letting a laptop basically become a full desktop setup. Multiple monitors, peripherals. Essential for hybrid work.
Absolutely essential, yeah.
Carrying cases are still big, naturally, for protection and just moving around. And maybe surprisingly, cooling pads are significant.
Really?
Yeah.
Cooling pads.
Yeah, it reflects the heavier demands we put on laptops now,
Wow.
Complex software, gaming, just long hours of use. Plus, there's that big catch-all category of other peripherals.
Ah.
That's where you see constant innovation, things like better webcams for all those video calls, specialized stands, even portable monitors are becoming more common. It's all about building out your own complete, personalized digital workspace.
It's fascinating how these seemingly small items add up to such a massive market value. Let's zoom in geographically now. Where is this expansion really happening? Let's start with North America. Pretty established tech landscape there. What's the report say?
North America is definitely still a powerhouse. The region generated a substantial $8.6 billion, just over that, in 2021.
Okay.
And that's projected to nearly double, hitting over $17 billion by 2033. That's an annual growth rate of about 5.8%.
Solid. And the U.S.?
The U.S., as you'd expect, really leads the charge within North America. It's forecast to grow from over $7.3 billion to more than $14.2 billion in that same time frame. But Canada and Mexico are also showing really robust expansion. Canada's looking at over $1.6 billion by 2033, and Mexico's projected to pass the billion-dollar mark. Both growing nicely, Canada actually a bit faster at around 6.7% CAGR.
Interesting.
What's compelling there, I think, is how that mature digital infrastructure keeps fueling demand. It's not just new users, it's existing users upgrading, getting more accessories as their needs change with technology.
That makes total sense. Okay, so North America showing strong, sustained growth. How does Europe compare? It's got diverse economies, also a mature tech scene.
Europe also shows really significant growth. Its market stood at around $6.8 billion in 2021.
Okay.
And that's expected to nearly double, too, hitting almost $13.8 billion by 2033. The annual growth is just over 6%.
Slightly higher than North America overall, then.
Yeah, just a bit. The UK and Germany are definitely leading in terms of market value.
Oh.
And interestingly, Germany actually boasts one of the highest growth rates among the larger European nations, projected to reach nearly $2.9 billion by 2033. That's almost a 6.8% CAGR.
Higher than the UK.
Yes, slightly higher growth rate for Germany. France and Italy are also strong contributors, both expected to clear, well, France over $2 billion and Italy over $1.4 billion by 2033.
Okay.
And the report also points to solid growth across other places like Spain, that's projected to reach almost $1.2 billion, plus Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland. Yeah. It shows really widespread demand across the continent.
Okay. But here's where the report indicates things get really interesting, right? When you look at global share and growth, Asia-Pacific it seems to blow everyone else away.
You are absolutely right. Asia-Pacific is, it's the dominant force here. It's not just the largest market by value. It also has the highest growth rate.
Why is that? What's driving it?
It's a powerful combination of factors. So the market value there was already huge in 2021, over $15.6 billion.
Wow. And
it's projected to reach a massive $35.3 billion, more than that actually, by 2033. The regional growth rate, the highest globally, around 7.1% annually. China, as you'd expect, is a colossal contributor, forecast to exceed $11.7 billion by 2033. But the real standout, the one that's truly remarkable in terms of rate of growth, is India.
India?
Yeah, India is projected to have the highest EGR globally, an astounding 7.85%.
Almost 8% annual growth. What's behind that specifically?
Well, the report suggests it's more than just general digital adoption. It seems to be a potent mix. A rapidly expanding middle class, much better internet penetration now, even in rural areas, and a booming e-commerce sector that's making accessories readily available. People are setting up home offices, hybrid setups.
Okay, that makes sense. A convergence of factors.
Exactly. And beyond China and India, you've got major contributions from Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, which also has a very high CAGR, nearly 7.5% Southeast Asia, generally. It makes Asia-Pacific the undeniable leader, no question.
It's really incredible to see that kind of dynamic growth. Okay, let's shift focus southward. What about the South American market? How's it performing?
South America is also showing really robust expansion. The market there registered over $1.7 billion back in 2021.
Right.
And it's climbing towards nearly $4 billion by 2033. That's an impressive annual growth rate, too, about 6.9%.
Very strong. Who's leading there?
Brazil leads the region in terms of value, forecast to hit over $1.5 billion by 2033. But here's a little fun fact from the data.
Oh, yeah.
Argentina actually posted the highest growth rate within South America, over 7.3% CAGR. So really strong momentum there, projected to grow from about $370 million to nearly $870 million.
Wow. Okay, so Brazil's the biggest, but Argentina's growing fastest.
Exactly. Yeah. And countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile, they're also showing significant upward trends. It indicates a pretty broad and accelerating digital adoption across the continent.
Good to see. And finally, we can't forget the emerging markets, the ones really making their mark now. How are the Middle East and Africa fitting into this global picture?
Yeah, both the Middle East and Africa show significant high growth potential as their digital infrastructure expands and more people get connected. The Middle East accounted for just over $1 billion in 2021.
Okay.
Projections have it reaching over $2.2 billion by 2033, growing at nearly 6.9% annually. Yeah. Similar rate to South America.
And specific countries driving that?
Countries like Turkey and the UAE stand out, both showing CAGRs over 7%. Turkey around 7.2%, and UAE even higher at 7.4%. So very dynamic growth there.
Interesting. And Africa?
Africa, while starting from a smaller base overall, is also on a strong growth path. It was about $760 million in 2021, forecasted to reach over $1.6 billion by 2033.
Okay.
South Africa's leading the way there in terms of market size, projected to hit nearly $750 million by 2033. Nigeria is also showing promising trends. It really highlights just how global this expansion is, driven by that widespread digital transformation everywhere.
So when you pull it all together, what does this all mean for you, the listener, the person interacting with technology every single day? This deep dive really hammers home the incredible scale of this market. It's exponential growth. And it's not just about gadgets, right? It feels like a direct mirror of how much we rely on digital tools now. for literally everything: work, school, personal life.
Absolutely.
It shows how much we value convenience, productivity, and maybe increasingly comfort in our digital lives.
Precisely. It reinforces the idea that these accessories, they aren't just optional add-ons anymore, are they?
No, definitely not.
They've become truly crucial components. They shape our digital experiences. They enable us to be more productive. They help with ergonomics as we spend so much time hunched over screens.
Yeah.
And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, just how deeply integrated technology is becoming in every facet of life.
Well, it raises a pretty interesting question, I think.
As these digital boundaries keep blurring between work and home, physical and virtual, what's seemingly small, maybe even currently unimagined, but essential new accessories are going to emerge next. And how will they further transform the way we interact with our computers, our phones, all our devices? Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into the laptop accessories market. And it's a sector that's, well, it's showing incredibly rapid growth right now.
Yeah, it really is.
We're talking about a space being reshaped by some pretty massive forces.
Yeah.
Digital transformation, the huge rise of gaming, and the whole work from anywhere culture that's taken off.
Definitely.
So our mission today, to pull out the most important insights, the real nuggets about this market's momentum, the challenges it's facing, and importantly, the trends that are redefining its future.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, isn't just that it's dynamic, but how quickly things we used to think of as optional, add-ons for our laptops, how they've become really essential tools. Almost overnight, it feels like.
Right. Essential is the word.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you'll see we'll be looking at the key drivers pushing this market forward, some significant restraints maybe slowing it down a bit, and then the really innovative trends shaping what comes next. So whether you're maybe setting up a new home office or looking to upgrade your gaming setup, or even if you're just curious about consumer tech, understanding this space, it offers some really valuable insights into how we're all interacting with our digital lives these days.
Okay, so that's a great overview. Where exactly is all this momentum coming from then? Let's drill down into the core drivers. First up, remote and hybrid work. I mean, that's the obvious one. Maybe
It's huge. Absolutely.
it hasn't just changed where we work, but fundamentally how we work. I saw some studies showing like a 25% increase in accessory spending per remote employee last year.
Wow, 25%. That's significant.
Yeah, way more than companies initially budgeted for. It's not just about getting by anymore. It's about optimizing for the long-term comfort and productivity.
Exactly.
Things like good quality docking stations, external webcams, ergonomic stuff like cooling pads, even those portable second screens.
Oh yeah, those are becoming popular.
They've gone beyond just being nice to haves. They're practically non-negotiable now if you're serious about your remote setup.
And right alongside that, a massive catalyst is the surge in laptop gaming. Laptops just aren't for spreadsheets anymore, are they?
Not at all. They're powerhouses now.
Yeah, real powerhouses for seriously immersive gaming. But it's not just casual gaming exploding, it's the rise of esports, professional streaming.
Right, the competitive side.
Precisely. And we're seeing this hyper-specific demand for things like sub-millisecond latency mice, mechanical keyboards with very specific switch types for that competitive edge, and studio-grade headsets for crystal clear communication. This niche, it's driven by this desire for absolute peak performance. And honestly, it's pushing innovation boundaries faster than almost any other part of the accessories market.
That makes sense. And kind of underpinning a lot of this, technologically speaking, is the rapid evolution of USB-C and especially Thunderbolt. Right?
Oh, absolutely fundamental.
What's really revolutionary isn't just that they're universal, which is great in itself, but that a single Thunderbolt 4 port it can handle 40 gigabits per second of data, deliver 100 watts of power, and drive dual 4K displays, all at the same time.
It's incredible performance from one port.
It really is. It's basically a one-cable solution. It declutters your desk, future-proofs your setup to some extent, and it makes things like multifunctional hubs, all sorts of adapters, fast-charging cables, just absolutely indispensable for modern users.
Okay, so it sounds like it's all just, booming success. But every fast-moving market hits speed bumps. What are the biggest headwinds these accessories are facing?
Good question.
Well, one significant challenge is actually the rapid evolution of laptop hardware itself. It's kind of a double-edged sword.
How so?
Frequent changes in port configurations, or even just subtle shifts in device sizes and shapes, they create real compatibility risks. A lot of buyers understandably hesitate. They don't want to invest in expensive accessories if they're worried about early obsolescence.
Right, you buy a fancy dock and then your next laptop doesn't quite fit or needs a different connector.
Exactly. So unless manufacturers can adapt their designs really quickly, there's a risk there of, eroding consumer confidence.
That makes perfect sense. But how significant is this issue, really? Are we seeing accessories becoming useless within months, or is it more about that future anxiety? And are people really holding back on buying or just looking for more versatile solutions, maybe?
That's a fair point. It's less about literal month and more about that anxiety, I think. The fear that a significant investment becomes irrelevant with their next laptop purchase.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the ever-present factor of price sensitivity.
Always a factor.
Always. While enthusiasts might happily shell out for a high-end dock or a premium mechanical keyboard, your average user often looks for more affordable options, maybe something bundled or an all-in-one kind of alternative.
Sure. The good enough solution.
Right. And that behavior, it does limit market penetration, particularly in more budget-conscious regions or among users who might be less, let's say, tech-savvy.
And what else? Any other major hurdles?
Well, there's a really critical issue, especially if you look at online marketplaces. The sheer number of counterfeit and, frankly, low-quality products out there.
Ah, yes, the knockoffs.
Exactly. Cheap, substandard accessories aren't just frustrating, they can actually malfunction. They can even damage your expensive laptop.
That's the real danger.
It is. And that experience, it pushes quality-conscious consumers directly towards established, often premium, brands, which, in turn, raises the bar for the genuine manufacturers. They have to constantly work harder to maintain trust and clearly distinguish their products in what's become a very crowded market.
Okay, so despite those challenges, compatibility, price, counterfeits, there's still some really fascinating trends pushing things forward. What's redefining the space right now?
Well, leading the wave, I'd say, are intelligent and modular docking systems.
Modular. How so?
We're talking about more than just simple hubs now. These are becoming smart platforms. They might integrate wireless charging, maybe even AI-powered displays sometimes, and they offer flexible, kind of stackable configurations. You can adapt them for mobile use or build out a more permanent desktop setup.
Ah, I see. So they can grow with your needs.
Precisely. Professionals especially seem drawn to these designs that can evolve right alongside their changing workspace needs.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder how we manage those early remote work days with just the laptop's built-in webcam and trackpad.
Doesn't it just? And another major trend, you absolutely can't ignore it, is the eco-conscious movement.
Sustainability. Right.
Consumers, particularly in places like Europe and North America, are actively demanding accessories made with recycled or biodegradable materials.
So things like,
Think about bamboo laptop stands, maybe biodegradable mouse pads, even cables made without PVC. And the brands that are genuinely embracing this, they're not just reducing their environmental footprint, they're also gaining a really loyal, value-driven customer base. People appreciate the effort.
that's interesting. It adds another layer for designers, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Moving beyond just function to, well, responsibility.
it really does. It's a fascinating challenge.
And finally, what about power? How we keep everything charged?
Ah, yes. The integration of wireless charging and power delivery PD is definitely transforming how we power our devices.
So we're seeing more key-enabled docks. That's the main wireless standard, right?
Yeah, keys pretty much everywhere. So key-enabled docks, MagSafe compatible stands, especially for the Apple crowd. It all simplifies the user experience. It's moving us towards that dream of a truly cable-free workstation.
The dream.
As wireless tech continues to become more standard, accessories built around these integrated power solutions are definitely poised to capture a pretty significant market share, I think.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. What does this all mean for you, the listener? We've sort of journeyed through this dynamic landscape of the laptop accessories market.
We have, and we've seen how powerful drivers like the big shift to remote and hybrid work, that explosive growth in laptop gaming, and the now ubiquitous adoption of USB-C and Thunderbolt have made certain accessories basically essential, no longer optional.
Right. We also acknowledge the challenges, though. Compatibility risks from hardware changing so fast, the constant pressure of consumer price sensitivity, and that critical issue of counterfeit products potentially undermining trust.
Definitely key hurdles.
And then we highlighted the transformative trends,
Hmm.
those intelligent modular docking systems, the really powerful eco-conscious movement influencing materials,
Yeah, the sustainability push.
and the exciting integration of wireless charging and power delivery, making things simpler, cleaner.
So, this raises an important question, I think. It seems clear the laptop accessories market is in a really transformative phase. It's this unique blend of technology, lifestyle changes, and now sustainability concerns.
Hmm.
And that blend, it promises both continued growth, but also potentially quite a bit of disruption in the future.
So here's something to think about. Considering how quickly our work habits, our play habits, how they evolve, what current accessory do you think will become absolutely indispensable in the next, say, 5 years? What's the next must-have?
Ooh, good question. And maybe flip side of that, what existing accessory might become completely obsolete, replaced by something else entirely?
Yeah, and maybe one more thing to consider. How might this push for sustainability fundamentally change how we actually design these things? And maybe even how we dispose of these tech companions in the future?
Lots to think about there. The future of these everyday tech items is definitely going to be interesting to watch.